So let's start on time. Good morning, everyone. While everyone is joining, we will slowly start the session because the agenda is quite dense. So today is the first open training session of the Resilience Plus project. We will focus on agriculture, connecting water risks and financing for resilience. This session is part of the activities and services delivered through Resilience Plus to disseminate knowledge, practical solutions, and lessons learned that will support regional local authorities in their journey towards climate resilience. So today we'll explore how water management, climate risks, financing mechanisms can be better connected to strengthen the resilience of the agricultural sector and support adaptation efforts across European regions. So my name is Elodie. I'm the Deputy Director at FEDAREN, which is a network of climate and energy agencies. And together with Guido Schmidt, Senior Policy Expert on Water and Climate Adaptation at Fresh Pots, we will be moderating today's session. During the session, we'll gather questions, comments, and help make sure they're brought into the conversation, especially because we have a panel discussion at the end of today's meeting. A bit of a housekeeping before we start. So your microphones are disabled. Don't hesitate to turn on your camera if you want. It's always nice to see faces. And you can use the chat to write questions during presentation, but there will be as well Q&A sessions, Q&A moments after each presentations. You can raise your hand and start and ask directly your questions to make the event a bit more lively. The meeting is recorded and will be made available on the Resilience Plus website. So the goal of the Resilience projects. So Resilience Plus is a flagship initiative of the EU mission on adaptation to climate change. It follows a simple but ambitious approach, learning from regions and delivering knowledge to them. So on one hand, the project is harvesting 150 proven adaptation solutions and tools from across Europe. And on the other hand, we are transforming this knowledge into practical support through more than 70 activities, materials, training sessions, tailored to regional and local context and needs. This work is carried out together with the Me4Adapt and other mission projects like adaptation hubs and other stakeholders working on climate adaptation across Europe. Today's session is actually one of the examples of these efforts and in trying to create opportunity for learning, exchange, collaboration, and support organizations that work on adaptation and common climate challenges. So this is the first webinar of a series. The series is called the Open Training Sessions of the Resilience Plus project. It consists of 5 interactive webinars under the heading Contributing to Climate Resilience. So in each session, we'll focus on a different topic and we will explore how different sectors can contribute to adaptation and resilience. As mentioned, the aim is to share practical tools, solutions, case studies, but also encourage exchange and learning across sectors and regions. In each session, we will feature a Resilience Plus product, knowledge product that participants can take away. As it's the first session and the project has only started, some of the examples today will also come from Me4Adapt. So a bit of background on today's topic. So as I'm sure you all know, agriculture is at the heart of Europe's food systems, rural communities, and local economies. It has very huge impact on all our economies, and with 9.1 million farms in the EU, 228 billion euros in exports, and unfortunately, and this is the topic of today, 28 billion of losses per year due to climate hazards. Next slide, please. So the challenges the agricultural systems face are it's a dual challenge. On one hand, you have growing climate risks with drought, flooding, heat waves, water scarcities, changing growing conditions. And on the other hand, the agricultural production system is contributing to environmental pressures with high water consumptions, nutrients and pesticides runoff, groundwater depletion, greenhouse gas emission, especially through methane, ecosystem degradation. So we need an integrated, resilient approach to tackle to address these challenges with efficient water use and management, with dedicated financing and investment, with risk reduction, and with indicators and data to monitor, but also to make sure we have precise data for agriculture and efficient management. So today, we are very pleased with a diverse group of experts and practitioners that who will speak today and share their knowledge and experience from different perspectives and countries. So thank you very much to all for your contribution to today's sessions. We will introduce them in more detail as we take the floor, and I also take the opportunity of thanking my colleague Leslie Barriga that you see on the screen, because she did a great job in preparing all of this session. The agenda is quite dense, so I'm kind of like rushing through now. I won't read everything, but what is important to know is at the end of each presentation, you will have hopefully 5 minutes of Q&A on the presentation. And then we will have at the end, after all the presentation, we'll have a panel discussion moderated by Guido. If in case you didn't have a chance yet to ask all your questions. Yeah, and to start to break the ice, even though it's tricky today to talk about ice, we're all melting. I think this would have been part of a welcome survey, like who is not melting today. We would like to learn more about who is joining us through this survey. So you please do scan the QR code on the screen. And once you have access to the survey, we'll go through the questions together. I don't see how many people are. Yeah, I see people responding, so I'll leave you a few minutes. I'll take to the test as well to see if it's working properly. Yeah, on this note, actually, I'm joining from Italy, and yeah, if you see me disappearing, it's because we have regular blackouts because of the heat wave. So if I'm disappearing, Leslie's sitting in Belgium, maybe with a more stable connection, and she'll take over. So yes, I see you're also joining from very hot weathers. Nice. We have a quite nice representation of countries. And also, that is good to see as well, like as the main target audience is should be a local and regional authority. It is also well represented here. So thank you very much and welcome to this session. And then, yes, in one word, what do you need? What is the most needed for resilience and sustainability of agricultural systems, agroecology, water, planning, new policies, immediate solutions, yeah. Quality, I guess, of the agriculture and the products. Change in practices. More diversity. Maybe this is also something we will address in one of the presentations, the diversity of seeds and crops. Long-term planning, even though it's true that we need immediate solutions. Okay, thank you very much for participating. So as I said, the agenda is quite dense. So let's open our session and let's open the floor to our first speaker, Joanna Monteau. She's a climate project manager at Solagro in France. She's an agricultural engineer and she's been involved in setting up and managing European projects aimed at protecting biodiversity in agricultural environments for the LPO, so the League for the Protection of Birds in France. She's also worked to build the capacity of a French network of organic farmers on climate-related issues. She has expertise in farm greenhouse gas and energy assessments, as well as the carbon market in agriculture. At Solagro, Joanna supports farmers and local authorities in implementing adaptation strategies and assessing the vulnerability of farms to climate change. Joanna, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Elodie. Hi, everybody. So, I will present the tool that Solagro designed for European countries in order to support agriculture adaptation efforts. So, but first, I will introduce my presentation with the project that has launched this tool. So, next slide, please. So the project that launched the tool is called Life Agri-Adapt. It gathered 4 partners in France, so Solagro for France, Lake Constance Foundation for Germany, Foundation Global Nature for Spain, and Estonia University of Life Sciences in Estonia. And the main objective of this project were to show that 3 main farming systems, so livestock, arable and permanent crops, can be more resilient by implementing sustainable adaptation measure. So it was for climate was a way to implement strategies and agroecological practices. So the aim of the project was to show this was a powerful driver for the shift towards sustainable agriculture. And Life Agri-Adapt was realized during 4 years from 2016 to 2020. And it focuses on describing future climate scenarios in different parts of Europe. So the 4 parts that you can see on the screen. And it was the climate zones that were covered by the project. Next slide, please. So in this project, there was more than 100 farms that were accompanied and supported. And what we've done with it was that we made a vulnerability assessment. And when we were supporting these different farms, the need to calculate risk indicators in the future became apparent. So a platform were developed, and it's called AWA, and which is always open and available to everyone. Next slide, please. So you can see which are the different parts of the AWA web tool. You can have the different crop yields, and the aim was to make statistics about all the yields in a zone, and to evaluate these kind of things, and also to have data about the past of the climate in order to make memories with the agriculture farmers, sorry, and also to make an interview with farmers. But the final thing that I want to speak about is the climate risk scoring. So it was a qualitative and also quantitative. So yeah, it was a big diagnosis of all of this. And about the future risk, next slide. We pointed, so yes, it was how the adaptation plans were made. There was different points all over Europe that were calculated, hand calculated, and it was a lot of time that we spent on this. So the goal of designing a new tool was to have more automatic calculators and more indicators in order to evaluate future risk for adaptation of the agriculture all around the Europe. So yes, you can go to the next slide. So Canary Europe has been developed. It's a climate service for agriculture. You can type Canary Europe on Google or any other researcher, but also on it's available on the Climate Adapt platform. It was created in 2023, and it makes, as I already said, a different climate projection for whole Europe. And it's a multi-model approach, so it's a good thing in order to reduce the uncertainties about how the climate will be in the future. And it's based on two scenarios that are developed by the IPCC. The different scenarios that one is the worst case, and the other is like business as usual. So you can see the different risks that are known for the future with these two scenarios. And you can also see the near future or the far future. And it's the tool is equipped with more than 100 agroclimate indicators. So you can have a specific risk within a food sector or a agricultural sector. So we plan, we try to make all these risk easy to see within the agroclimate indicator. And there is also generalist indicators such as temperature or rainfall, for example. And the indicators are adjustable, so you can also make it more specific to your context in your country and your local knowledge about how the weather is in your country. And you have a result in a few seconds. And also the platform is available in different languages. So to produce this projection, Solagro drew on scientific expertise of a French institute specialized in climate science, which is Pierre-Simon Laplace Institute. And also for different indicator in the tool, such as the evapotranspiration, we have the support of the Joint Research Center, which is the European Institute for Climate. And so it wasn't alone work. You can go to the next slide, and maybe I will share my screen just to show you how the platform works. So let me share it and just say if it's if you can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. So this is the platform, and as I already said, you can just type Canary, and you will go to the description of the platform in Climate Adapt website. And so you just have to calculate an SCI and ACI. Sorry, you have to log in before. It's just to know who uses the tool. Yes, what you have to do is just to zoom into the relevant location. So maybe I can say this part of Belgium interests me. And so you have to then go to the next page, and you can see that you can select different type of future, near or far, and also the RCP scenarios, which are the IPCC scenarios. So I can make the worst case. And yeah, these are the indicators, so general indicators, and they all are classified between the different types of calculation that you have on the tool. So numbers of days can be available, but also averages or calculation about the last day of something, and so on and so forth. And also specific agroclimatic indicator related to animals or different type of crops. So if I click on one, you can see how it calculates. So you can adjust the indicator, as I already said. And here is the visualization. So it's a statistic projection. So you will have a statistic. So a reminder here about where we are, what scenario we have, and also what are we calculating. And this is the different statistics that are available in the platform. So there's always a comparison between the past, recent, and also the near future, and also the far future if you clicked on it. And you can describe the future with different box plots. And yeah, it's a compilation of the whole different models. And when they are not, when they don't agree together, there's a lot of little points that represent extreme years or yeah, extreme events that will not reproduce all the year long, but sometimes. And 50% of the possibility are in the box plot. And you have it. You have, when you go with on your screen with the end, you can see the different figures, but they also are in the table. There is also a little graphic that shows you how the climate will evolve, and how the indicator will evolve during years after years. But we don't recommend you to click on a specific year and to say to people that you are supporting, okay, the climate will be with this, and this is how the indicator will go, because as it is a projection, there's a lot of uncertainty. So we don't recommend you to see this kind of representation, but it's better with this kind of representation. So I will stop to share my screen. Sorry. Also, you can also export all these graphics and table, and you can also have all the data if you want to go further with this kind of data. Yeah. So I'm stopping the sharing, and maybe I will have a few last, sorry, a few last slides. I don't remember. Yeah, about the uses in European countries. Yeah, thank you. So, so since 2023, there were more than 5,000 calculations that were realized, and the tool is used in 20 different countries, but there is one country that is using the Canary tool a lot. It's Spain, because that Spain were engaged in the AgriAdapt project. And you can see there is also Portugal and Germany that are using a lot this tool. And in France, we developed our own tool specifically for France with the French Meteorological Institute, Météo France. And so we are not using Canary right now a lot, but the other tool that is Climat-Diag Agriculture and Forest. Yeah, I think I've finished. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Joanna. Right on time. So thank you for keeping the time. We have the time for some questions, if you want, from the audience. If I don't see any hand raised, then we'll take the question in the panel discussion. But just remember, I think that Joanna needed to leave. So I'm not sure if you have questions, you rather put them in the chat then. Thank you very much. So let's continue with our second speaker, Asia Gutierrez Garcia, who is a Research and Development Project Coordinator at INTIA, the institute from the Navarra region of technologies and in okay, I should have said this in Spanish. I tried to translate. Infrastructure, agroalimentary and infrastructures, maybe something like this, where he specializes in the adaptation of agricultural practices to future climatic scenarios. With experience in the agricultural sector, he has worked on silvopastoral systems management, climate change mitigation and adaptation projects, and the efficient use of irrigation water, among others. Asier is particularly interested in establishing networks and improving advisory services for agricultural and livestock production in the EU. He currently focuses on enhancing the exchange of innovative experiences and knowledge aimed at improving the sustainability of agricultural systems. Asier, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So I will directly start. I will try to be as exact as my previous colleague. So, I'm working, as you said, in India, and we have, I will tell you how we have been working in promoting climate resilience, basically following two strategies, by recovering native seeds and by obtaining better adapted crops in Navarra. So yeah, next slide. So first of all, just to situate and contextualize a little bit, Navarra is one of the 17 autonomous regions of Spain. We are located northeast of the Iberian Peninsula, but it's important to highlight that even if we are quite small regarding the surface, we have a big agroclimatic gradient. So going from the north with northern valleys, wet northern valleys with influence of the Atlantic, until the southern part, which is almost semi-arid region. So that's an important point to start the presentation. And just really shortly, I will present the company I'm working for, which is Intia, as you said. We are a public company that is attached to the government of Navarra, and we are working on transferring and innovation in the agricultural sector, basically in 4 points: applied research and development, agricultural and livestock advisory, which probably is the most powerful tool for us, infrastructure projects, and control, certification and promotion of agri-food products. So yeah, next slide. Yeah, and just to say, especially regarding our advisory service, we have more than 30 years of experience, because even if we were founded in 2011, we come from different public companies that were fusionated. So we have people here that have been working for many years in the agro sector, and that's well, why you will understand how important that's for us. And yeah, regarding economic terms, well, we are financed by Government of Navarra, clients, foundation, and projects. So yeah, next slide. Yeah, and going directly to the topic, well, where this initiative comes from, well, it comes from the Life Nadapta project, which was the integrated strategy for climate change in Navarra from 2017 until 2025. So 8 years, really big and long projects, which was not only focused on agriculture, also health, water management, forestry management. But the main objective in all the topics, let's say, it was to anticipate to climate change, to try to predict what is going to happen and to limit negative effects and take advantage of the positive ones. So regarding agriculture and livestock, what we did, some of the topics we did, I brought here just to show you like the diversity that we were covering, going from the adaptability of agroecosystems to early warning systems regarding diseases or pests, and also minimizing wildfires with silvopastoral management. Yeah, next slide. And okay, specifically in the topic we are covering today regarding varieties, well, we followed two lines of research, let's say. First line was to evaluate the new varieties that are coming to the market, both of field crops and vegetables. And we were evaluating them in 4 terms, let's say, yield, environmental adaptation, disease and pest tolerance, and quality characteristics. It's important to highlight that we not test them only in one specific place, but we test them in many, well, in 7 place trials in Navarra with different management practices and different agroclimatic conditions. So the data we were obtaining, let's say, is even more powerful and useful for us. So in the end, what we wanted, it was to increase the genetic diversity of the crops and to be able to offer the farmers the bigger amount of possibilities to choose. And in the end, to obtain the best adapted material to future climate change scenarios. Yeah, next slide. So that was the first part, let's say, trying new varieties. And then the second one was to recover and to center the attention on ancient varieties. And why we did that? Well, we were thinking maybe the solution for, at least in regarding agriculture terms, the solution or part of the solution to adapt to climate change, maybe it has been with us for centuries and we didn't know that. So if we think about it, native seeds and native varieties, they have been exposed to natural selection for thousands, well, centuries of years, and they have been able to survive extreme temperatures, droughts, pests in the specific soils of our case of Navarra and the microclimates of Navarra. So that's why we were really interested on recovering them. We divided the job, let's say, in 3 steps. First, probably the longer one, was to recover the seeds itself and to test them. Then obtaining all that information and, well, creating a platform for managing that data to better select the plant material that are the more probably more useful for us in the future. And third, but and probably more important, to transfer all that knowledge to the sector, to the farmers and to the general public. So yeah, next slide. So yeah, the idea, so first of the steps was to recover the local seeds, and this was not easy at all, because here we are facing the common trend as in all Europe and probably all the world, that we are facing a loss of genetic variety regarding crops. So we were looking for these varieties in small villages and gardens, places that were sometimes quite remote. Another problem was that many of the varieties were cultivated in really small quantities. So probably 1 or 2 farmers have them, and it was like private for private consumption, not commercialized. So it was a big effort, but finally we only regarding horticultural varieties, we managed to recover 61 varieties, and we we elaborated a guide in Basque and Spanish. I saw here is an example, a photo, and basically what we wrote there, it was the main information of the varieties, when they are cultivated, why they are interesting, but let's say that information was in a short way, not it was for the general public, let's say. And in the end, we thought that was a first step for fighting against this genetic erosion, but we should go forward. Yeah, next slide, please. So we took all those seeds, we performed demonstrative trials in different sites of Navarra. As I told you, we have a big variety, so not all of them were useful for all our climatic scenarios. And we obtained a big amount of data, and we were lacking something to process it, let's say. So we created our own digital platform, which is called Hesper. With that, we were able to explode and analyze all the data coming from the demonstration fields, and to choose or to see clearly what was the better material, plant material. And we are currently working in not only using the data that has been obtained in these last years during Life Nadapta, but to introduce all the historical data that we had from before, from the previous decades of the company. And in the end, what we are facing, what we are focusing our attention is in analyzing that data and giving the best advisory service to the farmers. So yeah, next slide. So probably third step, probably more important one, was the knowledge transfer. Here I would say we have two different kind of destinataries, or target people, let's say. First, we have the farmers itself, the sector, for which is probably the main actor, let's say. And what we are normally we organize open days where we show the experiments and the trials we are doing for farmers, and normally they come plenty of them, 100 or even more, and they take ideas or they ask us how they are the different varieties working. So normally that was done before the projects for new varieties, but we introduced the ancient varieties in those open days, and we were surprised because some of them were really interested, and we think that's a way to expand the use of them. And then secondly, for the general public, let's say, for the citizens, we were really happy with the results because we had plenty of media attention, articles, posts on social media, newspapers, and we also collaborated with another initiative, which was called Libraries and Seeds, which is an initiative from the government of Navarra that they are providing free seats for citizens in some of the libraries, public libraries, so you can go there and just ask for the seats. And what we did was to introduce these local varieties on that libraries, so people can go there and ask for them. So it's another way to promote it, let's say. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, and then looking to the future, let's say we were interested in transferring the knowledge, but we know that there were some of the varieties that they were really in critical danger of extinction. Let's say they were few plants, so we wanted to replicate them and to conserve them. So that's why we sent them to a germplasm bank in Zaragoza, where there they are stored, and they make there some germination tests to ensure viability and quality of the seeds. And we also sent another safety duplicate to another place in Madrid. So this way we ensure, in case some of the varieties are being lost, because even if we promote them, it's hard to maintain all of them, especially due to the age of the farmers. Some of them, they were really, really old. That's a way to have a safe store of them. So yeah, next slide. So that would be all from my side. If you have any question, let me know. And here, yeah, I added some photos of the crops and the seeds we recovered.
Thank you, Asier. So if you're interested as well, this case can be checked online as an adaptation story in the MIPRADAPT website, and that has been developed by the Resilience Plus project. I don't see any question in the chat, so Guido.
Yeah, I have a question, but I will ask it later in the overall discussion. I think it's a very interesting experience which you're sharing.
Okay, thank you. Later, I will respond.
Thank you very much. So let's move to Joanna. So our first speaker, Joanna Cabaret, is the Embracer Regional Coordinator for the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region in France. Her academic background is centered on the environmental transition and resilience, reflecting her long-standing commitment to sustainability. Over the years, she has gained professional experience in environmental policies and nature-based solutions, working at the interface between research and implementation. She's particularly engaged in fostering innovative and collaborative approaches to climate adaptation and territorial resilience. Joanna, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and hello everyone. You can move forward. So, the first one, sorry. So yes, working in the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region. So the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region is engaged into the Embracer project, which is a project on nature-based solutions in Europe. And you can see all the actors that are working in our project. So it's Acclimatar, which is the regional scientific committee like IPCC, but at regional scale. We have Atos and MEOS, which help us with interpretation from with meteorological and also with satellite analysis. And also we have some researchers from CNRS and Sorbonne Université, which are also into this project. So yeah, you can go to the following. Just a quick idea of how this presentation is going to be done. I'm just going to present a little bit of the Embracer project, some of the field observations at what farmers engagements were, which is the demo that we're going to talk about, and some lessons learned from the project at the moment. You can go on the next one. So the Embracer project started in 2023 with a little bit more of 18 million euros for 48 months. So we're ending our project in September next year. And it's part of the Horizon mission for climate adaptation. We have some sister projects. Probably some of you are part of this projects that work on nature-based solutions. And in the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region, we have also the Natalie project, which is shown in the middle. Within the Embracer project, we have some demonstrating regions and some replicating regions. And the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region is one of the demo regions. So we put in place two demonstrators in order to see what is going on, and the other regions will take the lessons learned from our projects to be able to reproduce them in the regions. You can go to the next one. So what this project, even if it started in 2023, there has been long time observation and field observation from the river technicians that identified that there were some major hydrological inconsistencies. For example, there were in some places there were dried river sections and other ones that were very flooded at the same time. So that that induced several things. There were also some low topographic levels, while in other sites it remained quite high. So we could see that the natural flow has been altered, and also the thalwork, so it's the flow line of the valley, has been displaced as well. So there was some lot of observations to be able to see that there was a problem on the field and something needed to be done. So you can go to the next one. So as the river is in the private parcels, we needed to talk to landowners and farmers to let them know that there were some evidences of this changes in the river flow. Just as to say, the area, it's in the Marais Poitevin, which is a wetland area in the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region. And for centuries, river flows had been transformed in order to put them more straight, so the water could easily go to the sea and dried out the land, so farmers could have some crops and having also some animals. And within the past, it was okay. I'm saying just okay, because that helped the productions of many things. But now we see that we have some water issues problems, and the water is getting scarce and scarce. So we need to focus and pay more attention on this. And the landowners and farmers were key on this. So there were discussions also made by the technicians, water technicians, river technicians, and also the farmers and the landowners were quite supportive of the projects, so that made things easier. And also the government was paid attention into that, because the site is on a Nature in 2000, I forgot, at zero territory, so that gave more importance of the project. And even though some of the farmers agreed with the projects, during the works of the remeandering, some landowners were reluctant, because they saw there were many machineries in the place, and everything was a little bit disturbed. And now that nature is getting its marks again, everything is okay again. But that let us know that actually it's something that we need to talk all the time with landowners, even though they agree at the beginning with this project. So we can go to the next one. You can see here, I put it into the right, the first the first slides, the first pictures. So you can see on top right what it looked like the place before, and what it looked like afterwards in the bottom right, and a vision of probably a little bit more focused on what the meandering was. This river is only 8 kilometers long, so it's not a huge river, but only 1.9 kilometers were restored. And I'm not able to show with my mouse, but if you see in the left, you can see the old river flow. So it was quite right. And what we were doing with the remeandering was to gain more transition time for the river. And in this transition time, we have more water that is retained on the ground. So that is great. You can go to the following one. Yeah, well, it's just to show you which are the follow-ups that are done in the Marais Poitevin. So we have some physical chemical measurements, some species also, to see which fish were before, within, and after the work, and some geophysics also analysis that are being done. And we can go to the next one. And this one is giving us more information. As you can see on the third line, in the red part, shows us that we have some more humidity on the ground. This is just preliminary examples, and this year 2026 is going to be a year when we get all data from the ground, and we'll be able to see if the remeandering actually changed something, especially now that we are having a very severe heat wave, if it has changed something or not. So we'll see. I'll be able to let you know in September next year, probably. So we can go to the next one. And what we have learned so far from the project is that it is very important to have some field survey before starting with the project. We have seen here that 3 years before the project started allowed us to give us some detailed information of the ground and seeing where actually the river needed to be restored. So that is something quite important. Having also the land owners and the farmers from the beginning is something that is, at least for us, was very important because the river wasn't on private lands, but taking care of their emotions, aspects, the history, their habits, that helps us a lot to understand the whole of the river and why it's important to take care of that. For example, there were some windmills that were in place. So for people, it's important to see that we keep that in place and restoring, nevertheless, the river. Having also a monitoring protocol that helps us to have the measurements before, within, and after, and that can be reproducible. So if someone gets out of the project, it can continue with this measurements. We are working with some other projects, like I say Natalie, but also La Artisan, which is a big French project on nature-based solutions, and we're working with them in order to join our forces, to join the different stakeholders, and in order to show them that we can nourish each other from information. And I think that is quite important in this kind of projects, to nourish having a peer-to-peer engagement. That is also a good thing. And having in the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region, we did a nature-based solutions awareness day within the same organization. So having some colleagues that don't work on nature-based solutions every day, as I do, help them to understand a little bit more how they could work with nature in their daily basis, even though they're not working especially on environment. And yeah, there was I can say one of the last lessons learned that we had, and we tried to keep this synergy with all the partners and all the actors together throughout the project, and hopefully afterwards. And just that is the end of my presentation. So if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Joanna. And I really want to thank you guys, because you're really right on time. It's very easy to manage for me. Thank you so much. I don't see any hand raised for the moment. So thank you, Joanna. Let's move to Italy and Giuseppe. So this is our last and fourth speaker, Giuseppe Boato, who is an agronomist and technical and administrative coordinator at the Agrifondo Mutualistico Veneto e Friuli Venezia Giulia. Giuseppe works in the field of agricultural risk management, mutual funds, and climate resilience tools for the agricultural sector in northeast Italy. He collaborates with Agrifondo Mutualistico Veneto and Friuli Venezia Giulia on the development and management of mutual risk-sharing mechanisms, supporting farmers against climate-related and phytosanitary risks. His work focuses on territorial resilience, agricultural policy implementation, and innovative approaches to climate risk management in agriculture. Giuseppe, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everybody. So let's see, I will do a little more economical approach. So, but we can start with the presentation. So our approach is not only focus, obviously, of all the other speakers before, so mainly focus on improving data and experience facing mainly about more knowledge. In our case, we try to give to our farmers some also economical support. So we start with the first slide just to have a common vision of what is happening. Unfortunately, now in all the world, but probably more in Europe. So we have the worst effect of the climate change. I think we have some colleagues from France that unfortunately now they are facing with the drought, but also with very high temperature. And that we also have here in Italy, and during these years they are increasing all the time. We have unfortunately some wars, and that are rising the price cost of everything in agriculture and for supply chains and for fertilizer and whatever. So the farmers, they are striking also with this problem. And the last but not the least, is correct. We have to focus on our Green Deal, so the social and environmental part of our European community. But for the farmers, these objectives are not easy to achieve, and so they also impact in some ways to the how they grow and how they manage their farms, the farm. So this is very high challenge that our farmers during these years they're facing, and this is the starting point for our presentation. So it's not a very good point, but this is the starting point. We can go to the next slide. I just want to not only give you a world European overview, we want to also give you some focus on our territory problem. Let's see what's happening what's happened in the last 10 years. As you can see, the rising temperature, they are improving the severe storms effect mainly, that have all problematic, a lot of problems with the floodings, with the hailstorm. In the other part, we have drought and heat waves. So we have exactly the opposite effect, but with the very strong and a lot of damage in our territory. Not only the damage caused by environmental, so climatic effect, but also we have a new climate in our region, in our territory. It's more hot, and also we have a new alien species, insect species, and new diseases that are not usual for this area, and they are new for this area. And this means that the farmers are not prepared to defeat, they have no the knowledge to how they have to manage the problems. And this is another problem that our farmers are focusing and they are facing. So thank you. We can change to the next slide. And thank you. Just a quick focus on what is Agrifondo Mutualistico. So Agrifondo Mutualistico is mainly a group of farmers that try to cooperate to have a better mutual solution to achieve during this year for these problems. At the moment, we have more than 10,000 members, so I think we are quite a good number. We protect more than 10 billion euros of protect value. And during the last 5 years, we compensate more than 10 million euros on compensation for the damage that we facing. We pay mainly damage from insect disease and phytosanitary disease, so mainly focus on the we can say biotic part of what's happening. There is another very important thing that is more correlated to the climatic atmospheric management, but they are facing from another company that we have is Condifesa, that they try to compensate for hailstorm and windstorm. We are more focusing on the disease. Well, as you can see, we were born in 2010, and the very important things that the changings, the the new gear that we have start from 2019, when the European community give all the Europe, and we start with this idea, a very important contribution to our works. And so with the fee that we ask to our farmers, we have until 70% more of contribution. So this is a very important part, because we try, and with a very low fee, we can achieve a very high objectives, and so this is very important for us. We can move to the next slide. So the first things when we are talking to the farmers and to understand how much they know about the risk. So the first thing is the risk assessment. The risk assessment, as you know, I see, listen before all the presentation of our colleagues, they are focusing on data, of knowledge, of new species. They are more strong for the disease that we are facing. And this is a very important part, and also us try to promote this part of using synergy between the tools. So the first part is try to improve and motivate the farmer to have a better tools, to use the correct cultivars from their territory, to use some active defense like anti-hail nets to protect from the hailstorm, and some correct irrigation system with maybe low uses of a reduced use of water. In the other part, you know, it's not possible to have only active defense. You have also try to protect the farmers also with some financial protection. In this case, we try to the best synergies between different instruments, between different tools, mainly insurance policies. We in Italy have a national mutual fund that's called AgriCat that pay a reduced compensation, but pay something, okay, for catastrophic diseases, so for flooding or for icing, spring icing, or for the drought. And at the last but not the least, Agrifondo Mutualistico, so us, that we try to help farmer during this process to defend between plant disease and pest infestation. So all this is risk assessment. We try to share with the farmers all this knowledge, but we are more focusing obviously on our part, but we think that the teams, so the collaboration between all the tools, is the correct key to try to give the best answer to the farmers. We can move to the next slide. So as I said before, in 2019 we start to operate with the European contribution. As you can see, the quantity, so the capital that we manage, and also the payment, so the compensation, they increase very in a few times, and we can arrive to pay more and be more the impact and the effect that we have in our territory are more strong, and the farmers can have a real effect in their farm for this type of problems. The idea is to continue in this way and to have this piggy bank. So what is piggy bank? Piggy bank mainly is the money that we don't use is during the year for pay the farmers. They are collected for the roast years. So also in this case, the mutual situation, the mutual system allows this type of solution. So if we don't have a very high fee to our farmers during the good years, we can collect some money and use it in the roast years. So this is also mutual system and is very important for our territory. We can move forward. It's very important also show you that we're not focused on a few territories, but in all the 2 regions, we do a lot of we have the more than 10 last adjuster. So we have some technicians that go to the field and to check, to see the disease, to understand what the problem is a problem of the farmer, is a problem of the territory. And during the system, we manage all the diseases that we have. We have 2 main found. One is more focused on wine grapes, Veneto, for example, and also Friuli Venezia Giulia is mainly focused on Prosecco wine, so is at the moment one of the topics for our economy. So have this type of fund is very important also for sustain this type of supply chain, we can say. And on the rubber crops, so in the other part, we have another fund that is more focused on rubber crops that have a different disease, have different needs. And so we are more focused on another type of disease. The important things here you can see is there are spread the disease, the problematics is not only focused in a few areas, but they are distributed. So this is very also I think important to understand that all the territory have more or less some problematics. Maybe are not the same for territory, for different type of cultivation, but with the mutuality between the farmers and the territory, we can give to all the farmers some benefits from our instruments. We can show, we can pass to the next ones. So a little case study of what is our mutual coverage. So first things, we start with a no high fee, but with a very low price fee. As you can see, we ask from 3 euros per hectare for arable crops, up to 20 euros for vineyards. Okay, so we are very low price because there is a risk assessment problem in the farmers. So they're already they don't know the risk that they are facing, and so for have a more mutual distribution of the risk, we prefer to have a low price that allows us to have a lot of farmers facing, so up to 10,000 farmers facing, operating members. And using this system, we try to distribute more to have a better distribution of the risk between the territories. As you can see, we have different type of guarantees for the disease, okay, so for plant disease and for insect infestation, but also we have some problem with the wildlife. So we also have a non-sustainable, so it's not covered from European contribution, but we have also some compensation from wildlife in our territory. As I said before, we have a special technicians, lost adjuster, I don't know how do you want to say, that go to the field to check what's the problem in the farm, if it's a problem of the territory. So it's very, I don't know, it was a very rainy period, and so some fungi problem starts and whatever, or is a farmer problem. Unfortunately, there is this also ethical issues. So we have also to face it to understand which is the problem in the farm. So we have this technician that go to the farm and to also explain to the farmers what is the best way, the best practices to use to manage the problem. After we can say after the test, after the technician goes outside and check all the problematics, we have the last part, so the determination of the compensation, so to understand how much we have to pay. In this case, we have a team also in the offices that are checking that with all the data that we collected, there is a territory problem, and after that we are calculated the correct compensation. In the end, it's not an insurance, it's a mutual fund. So we have this small, we can say small, it's not small, but we have this piggy bank, and we can at least pay all the money that we have in this piggy bank. And otherwise, the compensation will be reduced between the farmers. This means that is a easy system, but cannot facing all the problems that there are. So we are just managing the money that we have in our fund. We can move to the next one. So I show you some strength of this system in our experience. The first thing is can start everywhere, because everywhere there are some farmers that can be use it. Okay, it's very also quick and fast to applicate. Okay, to operate, because you have just to found quite a high number of farmers, but when you have the farmers, they are involved, you can start very easily. In our case, we have and the other important things is all the Europe are with the European contribution, so everybody can have this 70% of European contribution. That is very important because can improve the compensation in the territory. Another important thing is the field inspection. So when you go outside, you are not just paying the farmers, but you are monitoring, you are sharing knowledge, you are you are taking the best practices in different territories. So you are doing a lot of things in just one operation, and this is also a very important thing. And the last one is at the moment, the insurance company, they are not taking this type of risk. So this is the only tools that is available for the farmers. So try to give some response, some answer for this problem. This type of questions that for the territory is very a good things for all the environment, for all the farmers, because it's the only one that they can have. So it's just a good thing. We can move to the next one. So the weaknesses. So not only the strength, but also the weaknesses, because there is also this type of problematics. The first of all is the risk assessment. So the farmers, mainly, they don't know the risk because there are new risks. They are not prepared for high temperature. They're not prepared for new disease, new insects problems, whatever. So they every time they say will never happen to me, and the next year they also have the same type of problem. So this is a part of the problem. Another part of the problem is the slowly of the contribution sometimes, because we have a different we have a lot of bases, we have a lot of steps for achieve the contribution. We have European part regulation, we have also a national regulation, we have also a regional regulation. So all these steps slow all the machine and all the compensation system. For example, I show you that the money, the contribution from 2019 to 2023 arrives at the end of 2025. So during the years we just pay a little part of the compensation to the farmer, and we concluded at the December 25. So this is also a quite problematic things. The pricing, so have the correct price for the risk is not easy to do. Also because the Italian national regulation have a financial system approach and not a risk management approach. And that means that until we have some money in our piggy bank, we cannot ask for more money to Europe. But is not in our idea is not the best way to manage, because it's increasing the risk, and so they are facing for the risk of the years before. So it's not as well as we wanna. But this is another part, and the other one that there is not other experience in Europe. Unfortunately, I know in France they start something, but it is not already available. And so our experience with other colleagues also in Trentino Alto Adige, they are the only two that now are operating. And for the CAP from 2028 and more, I know that we don't have a lot of strength. We don't have a lot of other experience to show in Europe to see that this system really can be a good choice to give some feedback, correct feedback to the farmers, immediate feedback to the farmers. And unfortunately, there are not other experience, and so we are lonely in this period. But we are hoping that other region, other territory, I hope all of Europe start with their own mutual fund to show that with this type of solution is also possible. Maybe not have the perfect answer, but try to give some immediate response answer to the farmer, just to support and to facing these difficult years. The last slide, please. Just to show you our future goals. So at the moment we have only two main fund. One is for grapes, so vineyards. Another one is for rebel crops. But from 2027, from next year, we are now make a revolution. We wanna put all together, so create only one very big fund with all the crops inside, and also not for plant disease, but also from climate atmospheric risk disease. Why this? Because the insurance company, they are moving out. They don't want to stay more for changing this risk, because you can see in Italy, especially in the north part, they are hailing a lot, and it's not more business, okay, we can say, in our area, in our territory for this company. And the farmers, they cannot move so easily as the insurance company. So for us, it's very important to have some tools, some instrument in the territory can stay there and give the right answer to the farmer. So we will do a new very big fund, and we will try to answer not only the disease but also to the atmospheric problematics. The other part is to create more cooperativity, not only with the farmers but also with all the regional and national European part of these teams. So create more cooperation to sharing data. So thank you all the other colleagues that share all the data and all the knowledge from these things, and to give to the farmers at the end the best result and the best instrument that they can have. I finish. Thank you. Sorry for my English, not so practical, but I hope this works.
Thank you, Giuseppe. It was great. It is actually a call to action to people in the room. If you have knowledge about other type of funds, I saw you were coming from many different countries. So maybe if you have some similar experiences in your regions or countries, or if you want to have some experience from them, this would be quite interesting, I guess. Okay, I see there's a question about Giuseppe's presentation, but maybe let's open the panel discussion, so we'll take all the questions together. Guido, I'll let you moderate. Thank you.
I start moderating, and I think we can skip the slide, and then everybody might switch on the camera, and it's always nicer to see people faces. Exactly. Catherine, do you have a specific question for Giuseppe? So I would like to give you the floor first, and then you can speak out your question directly, and Giuseppe maybe briefly can start with an answer on that one. And then I would also like to know who else would like to make a specific question, because I'm the moderator for the discussion and I have some questions prepared, but I mean, ideally it should respond to your questions and not to the questions which I might have. So Catherine first.
Thank you, Guido, and also for all the speakers during this presentation. I'm so impressed and happy to see how all these projects have been managed towards climate resilience. So I was really curious about the project of Giuseppe because he talked about a mutual fund in Italy, and I would like to know, how do you ensure that this financial support that the mutual fund is supporting is used specifically to address the damage caused when the farmers report events if you manage a monitoring system in place, and how is it working? What were the weaknesses you had before, or maybe not? And after this, I would like to ask, I think, for all the speakers, if climate resilient projects often depend on collaboration between different stakeholders, and their participation is really important. So from your experience and perspective, what have been your engagement strategies that have worked effectively in order to build trust and secure long-term commitment from them?
Okay, Giuseppe, maybe we start with a question which was directly targeted to you, and you could briefly provide some input. And I mean, if it goes into much detail, maybe you can follow up directly with Catherine independently.
Okay, so I understand that the topics was more on the monitoring, so how we can monitor in the territory and to understand if the system is working right. So the monitoring part we do with the two-way. Okay, we have two steps that we do at the same time. From one part, we have the inspector. Okay, so we have this loss adjuster that go to the field to check. The first thing that they check is the good practice. So the farmers, they are doing the right things. And after that, they check in the damage and whatever. But the first thing is try to understand what's the operation that the farmer do in the territory. So the phytosanitary practices and all the good practice. Okay, and at the same time we have I would say we have some datas from the region Veneto Friuli that is mainly focused on the disease. So we have this regional system, okay, that they for job they go outside to check what is the problem during these years. Is mainly of downy mildew or other problematics, and they have catalogs the topics area, okay, the mainly area, and so focusing on that area. So from the data that they give the region to us and the data the inspector take from the field, we can understand if that problematics is a correct problematics, because as I said before, is very drought, and so we have this type of aflatoxinous problematics, or is very rainy period and we have some fungi problematics, or maybe is another farmer problem. So we have these two steps, and with the interaction of the two solutions, we try to give the best answer to the farmers that have all the check of the problematic, so they are doing the good practice and is a problematic of the territory. At the end, the farmer will have the compensation. In the other ways, if there is some problem with the good practice and the problematics is not a real deal for that area, we try to understand what are the problematic in the farm, and we try to explain to the farmer that the problem maybe is the not correct use of the tractor, the not correct collocation of the treatment.
Giuseppe, can you switch it down?
Sorry.
No, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I mean, the answer should be really short. I mean, otherwise we won't have time for more questions.
I finish. This is
good. Okay, sorry. There's another question for you, which is very specific. Maybe you can respond it in the chat.
Okay.
I want to come back to the other question which Catherine had, which was about the engagement. I think there are three issues which I would discuss with the whole of the panel. If there are other questions, just please put them in the chat box or raise your hands, and then we can take them up. So one, and maybe that's the first one which I would like to address, because Johanna from the Canary Project is still with us, and she might leave soon, is about how do you deal with the with the multiple platforms? Because I mean, you're providing a way of making risk analysis for the farmers, but you also mentioned already that I mean, the French farmers, they have already another platform working. So and then we've seen that Giuseppe, you are also using your platform. There were also some risk analysis, I think, Asier, which you were undertaking. So how do you how do you really find out what the farmers need? I mean, how to provide them with the right tools, and how to make sure that not farmers and advisory bodies are not suddenly struggling with finding hundreds or thousands of different tools which more or less provides the same thing to them, and they really get worried and bored by it and don't know which way to follow. What is your strategy to make sure that what you are doing is really working in terms of providing the tools and making the knowledge accessible to them? And maybe we can start by this. I really would like to get quick answers here. Because I also want to step into the others, which Catherine mentioned previously on the engagement, for example. But maybe we can start with this one. Johanna.
Yes, it's quite difficult to answer because, as I said, in France, we have our own platform, which is the only one that released these kinds of data. So it's quite easy for us to make people interested in this platform. But for the Canary one, I don't know what are the different platforms all over Europe. But this one is quite used because it's a multi-model approach, which is really good for in order to decrease the uncertainties. And I think it's not a problem to have multiple platforms as soon as the different platforms are dealing with the same trends. I mean, climate change. We know that it's quite unpredictable in some of indicators, such as rainfall, for example. It's really hard to know about this precisely. But for temperature, it's quite easy. So there's multiple indicator with temperatures, and it's as soon as the platform are saying the same thing, it's not a problem to make recommendation for people, even if they are not the same platforms. But it can be a problem if they are not saying the same thing or the same trends, I think.
Okay, thanks. Any other thoughts from any other of the panelists on the tools and how to really provide something which is meaningful and allow people to jungle or to find in the wild forest of many tools and many platforms the right thing?
Well, I can say another thing. I think people are very lost with all the platforms that are giving different recommendations. But maybe we can just focus on methodology, and then they will choose their own platform, which is the best suited for them. But if we have a methodology that are interesting for farmers, they will be more committed in the plans and also the work that they have to do. And I think it's the key, even if there is a lot of platforms.
Okay. Does anybody of you provide an overview of the platforms or any training to, for example, advisory bodies on how to use the multiple platforms which are available? No, not really. Okay, maybe that's something to think about, just to make the life of the users a little bit easier. I mean, when I go shopping, I mean, Amazon is the easiest. I mean, in principle, just you click there and you go there. But I mean, there are also multiple platforms for buying something. Catherine had another question. That let's jump to another question, the one on the communication. So Catherine has a very good question. How do you really engage with the farmers or with the advisory bodies, which then communicate to the farmers? I think, Asier, you mentioned that the open days are very interesting. So I'm really curious. I mean, how do you get? I mean, are people just curious going there? Do they see the clear economic benefit of attending such events? What works? I mean, do the publications work for them, or is it more about WhatsApp groups, having something where you can touch something, see something, maybe talk to other farmer and other people who are there? Johanna from Embrace, I've seen that, for example, in the indicators which you have listed for the monitoring, there's really nothing about the benefits, so the benefits or the losses for the farmer. So, I mean, how do they know whether they really gain or lose within the nature-based solutions which you implement? Are you trying to track this? So I really would like to get some thoughts from you also on how keen farmers are to talk about adaptation. Or is it really about specific threats which they are facing and they don't listen or they don't believe in climate change? I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, with the farming protests we had in Brussels, I think 2 years ago, there was a lot about whether climate change and whether adaptation is something we should be talking to with the farming sector. So I really would like to see your experience, your lesson learned of how to communicate with the farmers organizations, with the advisory bodies which are in this world. And maybe you can share it with the people who are attending, because I think many of them are also trying to promote adaptation solutions for them.
Yeah.
Okay, you are going to start.
No, fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So in our case, we are kind of an intermediary between farmers and the government, like the link between both. And it's true, some of them sometimes they see us more close to the government than to them, and there's kind of what you were saying about the protest and everything, kind of people that they are not really confident or they don't really trust us. But in general, as there is as our advisory service has been working with them personally during so many years, there is such a trust between both parts that what we say, also what we transmit information, we try not to be not scientifically perfect, let's say. So also the language you use with them, the way you show things. So in the open days, we are really practical. We maybe have more data that are more interesting from scientific point of view, but for them maybe are not useful. So we are really, we focus on what's important for them, and also they trust you if they see it. It's as easy as that. So they see the crops, they touch them, they talk between them. Also in those meetings or open days or whatever demo events that we perform, we kind of elaborate a place where they are comfortable, so they can ask to us without any problem. I think it's more to getting close to them and having trust with them in the personal way. And normally, I would say they listen to us, and maybe they don't change what they have been doing for many years, but at least they consider it, and then they start thinking about it.
Yeah. Johanna, maybe you first, and then the other Johanna.
So Johanna Cabaret, I think.
Okay, sorry. For our side, as I said, there was a lot of work being done by the river technicians. So there was 3 years before the project, the Embracer project, and I think the Embracer project is a lever for putting into actions, but it doesn't have to stop next year, because we are going to have a year and a half full of information. But as you know, 1 year and a half is nothing when we try to put in place things for farmers, for everyone. So it was good to go to see farmers with data saying, well, the river has been displaced. If we put it into place, we will get more or less better water infiltration and things like that. So now that we are gathering all the information, we're after this year that we get this information, we're going to go to see farmers and say to them, well, can you see we are getting some differences because of the remeandering? We're having some soils that are wetter, but we will see what is happening with this hottest season. So I think the thing is we need to keep on talking to farmers all the time and not forgetting them into the process and saying, well, we had a hot year, but you can see how the soil has reacted. Probably have you seen some differences on your crops? So trying to put both data from the crops and from what we can get from our sensors and everything. And yeah, and I think that is the key, involving them all the time into the process. And even that sometimes it doesn't work, because we had a workshop on the field, and the owner came in when we were all discussing and showing the work, and they were not happy, and they were like, well, if we knew that all the machinery was going to make this big mess, we could have said no, because now everything is a big mess, and look at the soils, and it's being compact and everything. So now that the nature is taking back its rights, they say, well, okay, probably we react a little bit too soon. But yeah, I think involving them into the process, the whole process is a key. And even after the project's finished, we need to continue to give them information. And that is what we are trying to do with Embracer. We have transferred this competence to the river syndicate, and all the piezometers that were put in place within the project. This the river syndicate that is going to continue doing all the measurements every month and everything, to keep on track on the water table and how it reacts to more or less river flow. So yeah, I think we'll see what happens in few years' time, but yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I think Asier and you both talk about building trust, long-term relationships, and I think it's good that the administrations and the supporting bodies are engaged, and it's not just only a project which lasts for 3 years, because then the lessons, they might just simply be gone. Jonna Manto, your thoughts on how to engage the farmers, how to make something which really helps them and other people who can support them.
Yeah, I think they've said a lot of things already, but what we can say is that it's important also to have an example of success stories in order to make people more committed, and also we drew heavily on their memories to get them reflect past crises and how they handle it and how they could have handled it better. And so they in this with this kind of methodology, we think that they were more committed in the process. And we followed the farmers on the long run also, and it was quite also interesting for them to be committed in the whole process of vulnerability assessment, and to know more about climate future. And as they know more, they can also ask questions and have more knowledge about how they will plan their adaptations. And I think because sometimes we recommend to farmers a lot of things without questioning what they already know, and what they can also give us about give us information that are very precious to make better adaptation plans.
Yeah, great. And thanks for mentioning the success stories. I think it's important to work with them and to know how to handle it. But it's not a but on the other side, I mean, if I remember some of my exchanges with farmers, they remember very well when things failed. And I think Johanna Capade, when you were mentioning that the farmers were complaining about the land being destroyed, the soil being destroyed. I mean, what is your lesson learned? How is your approach to deal with a failure? So if you do something or if you recommend something to a farmer, and this might also apply here to Giuseppe and to Johanna Manto, so you give a recommendation, it's likely that this will happen and that the end it doesn't happen because climate change is often unexpected. I mean, how do you handle these risks? How do you encourage people to take some preventive action, even knowing that not everything might be worth it, and not everything will solve all the risks which they might be facing? So how have you how have you handled failures or criticism that your recommendations were not appropriate for the situation which an individual farmer or somebody faced? Have you faced this? Do you have any experience which you want to share?
Well, probably just to complete, 2 years ago, there was a big flooding. So because the water came too fast from the upper stream, it came too fast to the lower stream. So it accumulates in the parcel. So the farmer had some parcels that were flooded, and he was not able to have the crops recollected from that area. So always the river technician, I think it's also a key, because sometimes he's in between the work that can be done on the ground. He's also the key for talking to farmers, and also the key to better understand how the system works, how everything is merged together. And he has talked a lot with farmers and said, well, if we try to remeander the river, we will have the river flow that is going to transit more kilometers before it goes to downstream, and in the middle is going to be more infiltration. So it's a process of being pedagogic in everything. And well, at that time, the farmer agree. Now, about the soil that is being compact, well, we don't have yet information about if it actually got compact, and well, he didn't use that part of the land for putting the crops, so we don't have a feedback of if it actually had an impact on his field, on his crops. So at the moment, as I say, we are just having a small year of collecting data. So we're getting there. We will see what the farmers say at the end of the year, and we'll see. But I think the constant feedback and constant exchanges with them, I think, is a key.
And we can also add that we must not lie to them with the success stories, and also not lie to them about our recommendation. Of course, they will help to adapt, but there will be still crisis, and we need to distinguish adaptation plans and things we are going to implement on the long run, but also crisis that will for sure happen. And so we need also to be prepared for this crisis, even if the plan has to be implemented also. It's like firemen, they have protocols in order to support the crisis, and we have to also recommend these kind of things, even if sometimes it's not quite simple, because it's not the same recommendation as in the long-term adaptation plans, but it can also make farmers more trust us, because we are not lying about this, and we know for sure that there will be crisis, and we will help them with that.
Yeah, thanks, Johanna.
Yes, just a short comment to add. Maybe not talking about the management of failure that you were saying, but management of uncertainty is what we have to talk about, because in the actual climatic scenario that we are, farmers are the first ones that know things are getting harder and more unpredictable. So that's a good news in the sense that they are more open to listen to us and to the rest of the people. So just that about just to add that, yeah.
Yeah, Asya, I absolutely agree with you, but I mean, at the end, as people, none of us would like to live in uncertainty. I mean, we all want to know where we will spend the summer holidays, which school our kids will go next year, and things like this. So uncertainty is always something which makes us feel uncomfortable. And then the discussion, if we talk too much about uncertainty, it's something we want to, as people, we want to avoid and evade. So it's not at all an easy topic to talk about here. Giuseppe, I have one more question to you on the fund. So you were talking about the compensations, and you were talking also about the good practice. I mean, some criticism on the funds could be that, okay, I mean, if you compensate for all these losses, I mean, you don't really encourage people to take preventive action. That might be, I mean, it's a provocative question. So how do you make sure that the good practices which you will evaluate, if they've been applied, how do you make sure that they're really up to date with climate change, with what will happen and things like this, so that you don't disencourage adaptation options with the compensation funds?
Okay, so this is the typical question that all the farmers ask me also. So is the moral hazard, no, as you can say. So the farmers say, well, I can stay home, I cannot go outside to do what I have to do, because we have the fund that we pay, and we pay as well. So in this case, we have this, as I said before, double step system. So we have the loss adjuster that go to the field to check their good practices, but we also have a area-based loss. So during the years where we understand that there is some problem in some specific area, we check that also all the area have more or less the same problem. And if the farmers have the damage that is different, highly different, or maybe just different from the normal, the medium of the damage, the quantity of the damage have to be reduced to the normality, so to the other ones. So we have this also technicians that go outside that found, and they have this, we produce this area-based losses, and we put all the damage more or less to have the medium. So we have this ground, and the more damage we reduce to that. So I think is the farmers understand that they have damage different. The only problematic that we have is the biological, the biologic harvesting, the biologic farmers, that is not so common. So it's not too easy to say. Is not so distributed also. So that we have a little bit complication, but that is more important to have also biological farmers in our territory, so we have more open approach to that farmers. So and we can also allow some more damage for their farmers, because they have less active instruments to defeat, to prevent the damage. So for that farm is a special case, and the other part is the area damage is the medium, and you have maximum the area damage.
Okay, thanks you. Elodie, do we have to close the panel discussion, or do we still have time for very short?
We have 5 minutes. I
Okay.
think.
So maybe then these 5 minutes I would like to give to Asier, Johanna, and Giuseppe just to make some final remarks. What would you recommend people to do? What has worked for you best in the work which you have done? And and if you have any other message to the 30 plus people which are still in the call, just use the minute. Who wants to start?
Just one. I just want to say, please start also in your country some mutual funds, because when I go to Brussels, every times they say, "But you are all in Italy, so use it," and it's not so common in the other part of Europe. So maybe it's not so important like instruments. And for what is my experience, but our farm experience is it's not easy to start, maybe because it's behavior things and whatever. But when it starts, it's very effective instrument that can in very have immediate respond just because they give some compensation, so they have a immediate effect to the farmers, but also because it's some way of the farmer participate to this type of mutual fund, so they be more involved, and there are more they want to know more better practices, more new tools, more new, so the knowledge can be shared easily also in this type of instrument. Just this one. Thank you.
Giuseppe, thanks. Johanna, Asier, any of you want to step in?
Well, just to add that when looking to the future and when trying to think how to improve our resilience towards climate change, we should look to innovation and, of course, to try to look for new strategies or whatever. But also, it's always nice and useful to look back what has been doing for centuries in your specific area and try to take those things that have been working, mix it with innovative technologies or whatever, and try to get the best solution possible.
Yeah, thanks. Johanna.
I think it's what I could take from this is to continue to support these farmers, because sometimes they are just marked from the finger that they use crops that are not adapted and things like that, or that they use too much water for their crops and everything. So I think we need to continue to create trusts between the governments, between the land owners, the land users, and everyone, in order to don't point to the finger to them, because they are just trying to do their job, and sometimes it's not easy to change from one crop to the other. There are some consequences, and we need to be resilient, but also trying to be kind to them as well.
Yeah, exactly. But we have to adapt as well. I mean, we all have to adapt. So I think it's not just for farmers. It's that all our lifestyles are changing. I mean, with the heat wave we are currently having, I mean, we all can see it. So that applies also to farmers too. So just staying there and saying somebody will solve my problem, maybe it won't work. And I was smiling when at the beginning with these questions we had at the beginning, the biggest need to solve for climate adaptation was water. So, and it seems that somehow water will come to the farmer to solve the problems, and most likely it won't be that easy, and that's simple. So farmers should really think about what they can do also on their own in this adaptation way, just to be better prepared for the risks they might face. Elodie, I hand back to you.
Thank you very much. As you did all the conclusion for me, that's why we have a bit of time, so this is nice. But I really like the final conclusion from Asier and Johanna about the fact that it's also like working with farmer. I think they feel always pointed at and not really. I don't know. I don't think it's the right word in English, but no, I think I know it. Their work is not acknowledged, and their expertise is not acknowledged. And usually, when trying to work with farmers, making sure that you acknowledge the work they already did and the importance they have in our ecosystems, I think is usually like a good approach. And I really like the conclusion. In terms of closing, I just wanted to share some other tools from Resilience Plus. So Resilience Plus is also, apart from the Navarra case studies, there will be also documenting a range of other agriculture related solutions, and some of the tool and case studies that will be developed are, you have a list here. So multi-purpose hedgerows for climate resilience in Absdorf, Lower Austria. Life Vine Adapts about improving vineyard ecosystems resilience to climatic changes. Integrating inter-row vegetation management with precision irrigation for soil and water management in vineyards, so another vineyards, but in Greece this time. And then fire product label for fire resilience landscape in Spain. So you will soon find this documented in the Resilience Plus websites. To close today, really big thanks to all our speakers for participation and engagement. So the recording, the presentation, everything will be made available on the Resilience Plus website. There's already questions in the chat. And there will be also a handout summarizing the content of today with key messages in PDF format. So this is what is the Resilience Plus about, like this is a knowledge product that can be useful in your activities in your regions. And finally, we have 5 minutes left, so it would be very nice of you if you could give a feedback on this event so that we can improve as well other events and make sure that what we are offering is what you're expecting. The next training session will focus on wildfires. It's planned for September. Obviously, we'll keep you updated as soon as we have more information. And again, a big thank you for your participation today, and we look forward to seeing you in the next webinars of the series. Thank you all. I'll leave this open so you can have like a big, this 5 minutes of feedback survey.
And thanks to all the speakers and participants. Really nice to see your examples, what you have been doing. And and thanks for LED for raising the other solutions we are currently working on with the other projects and initiatives. And I know some of them, and I think they're really also great to learn from and to see what else is happening.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Like the content developed as I was really happy to be able to attend today's webinar. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you for the organization, and have a good day.
Bye, everyone. Oh, you're sharing this live, so we have the feedback, immediate feedback and punishment if we're not good.
And I hope that all that said that it wasn't a 5 very good, just really drop also the message of what we could improve. I mean, it's really meant to be useful for everybody else.
Also for the ones that that don't have enough time to continue, we also share this Slido survey in case they want to give further information about what they thought.
Perfect.
Okay.
I think we can close the meeting and enjoy the rest of your day. Keep cool. Thank
Exactly.
you all.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.